We'll start to Memorial Day weekend, but it is expected to be a busy one on the roads and out at the airport.
Now our team is getting you ready wherever your journey will take you. We want to start with a look outside. Katie LaSalle checking the holiday forecast.
Some very quiet weather to start this Friday here across the state. Mostly clear skies as we take a live look out over Westminster. Increasing cloud coverage as we get into this afternoon and a very warm day ahead. It is 67 degrees right now out at DIA. Winds are sustained from the southwest at 15 miles per hour. Dry conditions statewide currently. Slight chance for an isolated thunderstorm over higher terrain and across the plains today. Dry on Saturday and then more storm activity expected as we get through the second half of our Sunday. But right now it's upper 50s over Greeley, already in the 70s, Akron out through Burlington, 40s and 50s now filtering into many of our mountain towns. Here's 1:30 this afternoon. You can see that slight chance of picking up an isolated storm or shower over higher terrain. No risk of severe weather, but could see some very gusty winds with a cell or two across the eastern plains. Then tonight, skies will clear, will drop down to the 50s and then increasing clouds for tomorrow. I'll take you through the whole Memorial Day forecast still to come. Jason.
And we have a new crash, as you can see on the map here this morning on E470 on that eastbound, southbound side near 104th. That's why it's a little slow up there. Also slowing up to the north. Let me take you up to a camera on I-25 to the north. This is the northbound side where the left lane blocked just after Highway 34. Right lane's open. It looks like we may have a new problem on the southbound side, or they're seeing something else on the other side of the highway that's slowing them down. You can see the overall drive time right now is about a half an hour northbound, about 10 minutes on the southbound side. So that's one of our trouble spots of the morning commute. The rest of the drive doesn't look too bad for us here this morning. A little bit heavy on some of those areas around town. To or from the airport, that looks fine. We'll have Colette telling you about inside the airport in just a second. Take a look at the drive to the west up Floyd Hill. Right now it looks great. Late this morning, we are going to see a lot more folks heading west, heading up into the high country.
Well, from the busy roads eventually to crowded airports, millions of Americans are going to be traveling this weekend. Earlier this morning, in fact, the security lines out of DIA were wrapped into the baggage claim area.
Yeah, not to fear. It did look better over the last couple of hours, so maybe it was just getting through those people who showed up early. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is live at DIA. We are still expecting a lot of people out there, Colette.
There's definitely an ebb and flow to the security lines based off when people are arriving for their flights, and the lines starting to actually fill back out. This is more than we've seen in maybe the past hour, and excited travelers, that's something I do want to say. Everyone out here this morning has been so nice, so happy to be back at the airport and off for a holiday weekend. The number of people traveling this weekend actually hitting pre-pandemic levels. More than 1 million people expected at DIA between Thursday and Tuesday for this holiday weekend, and many of those people are getting here early and are just excited to see so many people back out in the airport.
I feel comfortable. I feel like it's good that we're starting to see more travel. It's good for our economy, good for business and everything. So I'm all about it, and it's fun to get away. I think traveling is important.
So this is supposed to be one of the busiest days out of that holiday weekend. Monday, Memorial Day, also supposed to be one of the busiest days with more than 200,000 people expected at DIA. Now, like I was saying, you can see here at the South Security Checkpoint, lines are starting to fill back out, and you can check it out here. This is that baggage terminal, or I'm sorry, bridge terminal. That'll lead to Terminal A. You can actually see a line starting to form. It sometimes moves slower back in there because there are less people working it. And then down here, this is the North Security Checkpoint. This is for TSA pre-check passengers only. We've had a lot of people come up to us and ask, where is TSA pre-check? It's on the other side of this. So if you are coming in your TSA pre, you want to go to the north side. If you're coming and you're flying on the normal lines, this is where you come. But honestly, things are looking good this morning, a lot better than around 5 a.m. at DIA. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Just got to get out there early before your flight. Thank you, Colette. If you are traveling, the CDC has issued a travel warning for monkeypox. Cases have been confirmed in at least 7 states, and now health officials are looking into the first possible case here in Colorado. Denver 7's Jessica Crawford joins us. Jessica, health officials still say the risk to the public is low.
That's right. The governor is saying that as well, saying that the risk of monkeypox is low for most people. Also, he's calling the disease serious, but saying that it's generally not fatal for people who have healthy immune systems. Yesterday, the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment announced that our state has its first presumptive case of monkeypox. Here's how it spread. In parts of the world where human cases of monkeypox usually happen, people are generally exposed through bites or scratches from infected rodents and small mammals. It can also spread when a person is preparing wild game or having contact with an infected animal or possibly animal products. High-risk exposure is when there's an unprotected contact between one person's skin or mucous membranes and the skin, lesions, or bodily fluids from another person known to have active monkeypox virus in their bodies. There are 2 vaccines that are available to prevent monkeypox, and Colorado is requesting vaccines from the federal government for people who are high risk. Monkeypox expert Dr. Reginald Washington says risk will be low for most people.
I think there will be more cases as it spreads from person to person. But I think because we know how it's spread and we know who's at risk for this, meaning someone who already has the monkeypox, I think it will be self-contained within certain populations, and there will be no reason to have widespread vaccinations to the general population.
There are currently monkeypox outbreaks in Canada and in some European countries. It's pretty rare here in the U.S. If a person does get it generally, then they have traveled internationally. Live in Denver, I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Jessica. And we do have an in-depth write-up on monkeypox on the denverchannel.com. The information there includes how it spreads, symptoms to watch out for, and what treatments are available.
Well, as the school year winds down, local law enforcement has had to respond to several metro area schools over reports of guns and threats.
And Northfield High School in Denver was on a lockdown yesterday over reports a student brought a gun to school. It turned out to be a paintball gun. 2 boys were detained and released to their parents. Cherry Creek High School also went into lockdown after police received a tip that someone wanted to shoot up the school. Police were able to secure the school and students went back to class. And in Boulder, a student is facing discipline for bringing an airsoft gun to Casey Middle School. That's the same school another student was arrested at earlier this week for threatening to do something on the last day of school.
Well, we just heard from the Texas school shooter's mother for the first time. Here's a portion of the interview through a translator.
I have no words. I have no words to say. I don't know what he was thinking. He had his reasons for doing what he did, and please don't judge him. I only want the innocent children who died to forgive me.
That's a pretty tough ask. The reporter asked Adriana Martinez what reasons her son could have possibly had for doing what he did. She said she didn't know. Authorities say the gunman was living with his grandparents and shot his grandmother before the attack on the school. The grandma is recovering in the hospital.
And this morning, the memorial outside Robb Elementary School in Uvalde is growing. The names of the 21 victims have been etched onto those white crosses, which are now covered in flowers and other mementos left there. Police are now facing criticism for how they responded during the shooting and their story, which keeps changing. Officials now say a school resource officer did not confront the gunman outside the building. They say the shooter got in through an unlocked door. Officers arriving on scene were driven back by gunfire and called for backup. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that a Border Patrol SWAT team went in and killed the gunman.
Some of them just stood there and said, well, why aren't they going in?
They rushed in and all that. We didn't see that.
The Texas Department of Public Safety is investigating the response. President Biden and the First Lady will visit with victims' families in Uvalde on Sunday. The sadness and the stress we are feeling in response to the tragedy in Texas is only amplified in teachers.
Yeah, they know their colleagues in Texas use their bodies to shield students from bullets, and they understand that someday they may have to do the same.
A balloon goes off and you kind of wait. Was it just a balloon? We had a transformer blow in the neighborhood a few weeks ago, and there's always that first instinct is a gunfire.
Frankly, I've heard from so many of them that they're tired of having to bear that burden and that weight of thinking about what they would do if this happened in their school, their classroom.
An incredible responsibility. So Mental Health Colorado says teachers are coping with a lot right now, from not only reacting to school violence, but just making sure kids stay on track academically after the pandemic. So they're encouraging teachers to take time to address their mental health and seek help if they need it.
This morning, there are resources available for your kids in wake of the tragedy in Texas. Earlier this week, Aurora Police became the first agency to partner with the state's I Matter mental health program. The program was launched last fall. It provides up to 6 free virtual counseling sessions for anyone in our state 18 or younger. Joshua Nicholas manages community relations for Aurora Police. He says the agency has ordered signs, brochures, and other handouts in hopes of connecting community members with the program.
You know, we've held several different town hall events over the last 6 months in response to youth violence here in Aurora. And a recurring theme that we've heard from youth, from parents and educators is that our youth need a safe space to talk to adults about the problems that they're facing.
You can learn more about the program at imattercolorado.org. There are also Spanish-speaking counselors available, and you can read about more resources available for kids and adults on thedenverchannel.com.
Families desperate for baby formula can get some relief this weekend, who a new shipment will help.
And what the Avs learned from Wednesday's loss that they say will help them win tonight in St. Louis.